Hey guys, you're watching me as New Pair of Glasses, and welcome to hurricane season, the time of year where the people at the top of the economic pyramid, with the aid of mass media, weather reporting outlets, and meteorologists, profit off the fear and destruction of the population. And we're also going to talk about the method that they use, why they do what they do, and who is behind all of these real and not so real hurricanes. I say that because first you need the ability to manipulate the weather. They can predict the weather because they create and steer it. But I'm not going to go into weather manipulation in this video. I'm sure most of you have known about this already, and if not, you can do some independent research on this. But they absolutely do control and create the weather. Then you need images from, quote, space. Big scary images of these hurricanes to flash on the screen and show people to prove that there is a hurricane coming. And mind you, these images from space have no stars in them, but I'm assuming if you found your way to my channel, you already know the answer why. Next, you need some CGI, aka computer graphic imagery. This is where they show you, supposedly in real time, where the hurricane is, how strong it is, how fast it is, and where its supposed projected path will be. And finally, you start bombarding people with the emergency alerts to get people in such a fearful place that they are just putty in your hands for what you tell them to do next. So what you're looking at now is a screenshot from one of my son's phones. As some of you know, both my sons were in Hawaii as Hurricane Lame was headed there. And this is just to show you a fraction of the emergency alerts that were sent out to people's cell phones. So I'm going to keep showing you guys this quote over and over again to drill home that these two things, fear and guilt, are the tool they use to manipulate people. So they get you scared. But they do this with plenty of time for you to do what they want you to do. The goal of all of this, which is to get you to spend money. These are typical images of what stores look like shortly after any kind of weather emergency alert is put out by the establishment. They're not moving enough things on the shelves? Well, let's design ourselves a weather catastrophe. Another tactic that they use is they combine images, photos, and videos from other disasters, cropping it and editing it together to sell you as a current disaster. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't real hurricanes that happen. There are. But there are also those that, whether they didn't turn out to be as big as they were steered to be and planned to be, or whether they were never supposed to be that way, we just can't trust that what we're seeing is actually happening, or if it's real. And anybody who was watching live cams of Hawaii during this hurricane will see that there was hardly any wind in this tropical storm that was what actually hit Hawaii. Even in a tropical storm, you have high winds, and what was seen was just a lot of rain, similar to what happened in Houston, Texas about a year ago. Now we're going to go back to my comment that I made about weather manipulation. If you aren't already familiar with the ability to manipulate the weather, you might be thinking, what type of money would it take, and what type of control would it take to pull off a deception on that big of a scale? Well, we're going to talk about who profits from instilling fear into the public with these weather disasters, and what kind of money is behind this effort, and what kind of profit is being brought in by either real or fake weather disasters. The number one company that profits during weather scares is the Home Depot. Every time there is a weather disaster scare, the Home Depot ranks at the top of the list of companies to profit. Quarterly profit and sales shot higher at the largest U.S. home improvement chain as customers stocked up on emergency products and rebuilding materials. The hurricanes that ravaged Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, and the rebuilding effort that has begun, are buoying the bottom line of Home Depot. The home improvement chain said Tuesday that it saw a sales surge in the last quarter and expects the uptick to continue through the rest of the year as victims of Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria reconstruct their homes. The Home Depot has seen sales soar in the wake of massive storms and a stronger housing market. The need for building supplies, from plywood and generators to wiring and shutters, led to about $282 million in hurricane-related sales at Home Depot stores open at least a year, the company reported on Tuesday. Storm-related purchases contributed to an overall sales of $25 billion during the third quarter, an 8.1% bump as compared to the same period last year, and a 7.7% increase at U.S. stores that have been open at least 12 months. And they prepare. Before the hurricane season begins each summer, the retailer stocks everything from flashlights to shovels in dedicated centers. It even preloads trucks so they can leave for the stores as soon as a hurricane alert comes from a weather vendor. So now we're going to peel away another layer of the onion and see who's behind the Home Depot. We're going to look at the top two shareholders of the Home Depot, which number one is the Vanguard Group and number two is BlackRock Inc. So surprise, surprise, the Vanguard Group is an American registered investment advisor based in Pennsylvania with over $5.1 trillion in assets under management. It is the largest provider of mutual funds and the second largest provider of exchange-traded funds in the world. Number two on the list, BlackRock Inc. is an American global investment management corporation based in New York City, founded in 1988, initially as a risk management and fixed income institutional assets manager. BlackRock is today the world's largest asset manager with $6.3 trillion in assets under management. BlackRock operates globally with 70 offices in 30 countries and clients in 100 countries. Due to its power and the sheer size and scope of its financial assets and activities, BlackRock has been called the world's largest shadow bank. So whenever we want to know who is at the root of all the nefarious plots that happen in our world today, we have to look at the money train. Who is behind the profiting of the events that happen? Because with this kind of money and influence, you can buy and you can do whatever you want in today's world. And finally, the guilt factor. No disaster profits would be complete without capitalizing off using guilt. Enter American Red Cross, the supposed humanitarian organization, capitalizing off of guilt and the people that are suffering as a result of these disasters, and asking you to not bring donations of clothing and items, but cash only, which led to a $2,714,189,000 revenue in 2017 alone. Do you think maybe that their requests for cash only are working? And actually, a fraction of a percentage ever even reaches the disaster victims. So all these weather events, real and not so real, are all in an effort to profit off of the fear and guilt of humanity. Are you starting to see now why fear and guilt are the most powerful tools that are the enemy of man. So with all the space images, the CGI, the actors in the news and the weather crews, mass media, everyone plays their part to profit the people at the top of the economic pyramid. It always comes down to money, guys. It always comes down to money. So that's it. That's all I have for y'all today. Stay safe. Stay alert, especially in this hurricane season. Don't believe everything you see. Use your brain. Critically think. Be good to one another. And as always, God bless.